Whoa, hey, no, it's the guy's look, it's durrbill. He's back. Check it out. He's alive. No way.
Suck my fucking ass, you goddamn stuttering fucking parent!
You might be wondering why it's been so long since I've uploaded, and the answer is... In reality though, TF2 discourse is often really tiring to me. I actually made a video about this on my second channel that you should definitely check out, but that's where today's topic comes in. Something that no one has anything but good opinions on, I promise. The market gardener. A couple people have asked me why I main Spy, and the reason is as simple as this. Trick stabbing is really cool. After 8,000 hours of Team Fortress 2, a lot of the game has become a bit more stale to me, so to satiate myself, I seek out incredibly rare and brief stints of extremely happy emotional states that more often than not make me and everyone around me miserable when things don't go my way. Sorry, that's not a playstyle, they're symptoms. I really do love those moments though, ones where you get an incredible play and beat the odds. Obviously Trick stabs a Spy, headshots a sniper, getting a sweet direct hit air shot. But of course, very little beats out the market gardener. It's a shovel, it does 195 damage if you hit someone while you're blast jumping, does normal damage otherwise, and has a slightly slower swing speed. And also, a quick side note, a lot of this video's background footage is just going to be random footage of the gardener being used randomly. I don't know, it's a weird weapon, you only use it in brief stints, so it's just going to be how it is. Sorry. Anyway, being a weapon that requires you to be blast jumping to get crits, the market gardener has always been synonymous with rocket jumping, God's second greatest gift to Earth, a close second behind custom sounds. Rocket jumping is probably the coolest thing in TF2, and I don't even have a joke lined up for that, it just is. It's an almost unmatched level of excitement, and it's a real skill you can develop for hundreds of hours on custom-made rocket jumping maps and more. I wouldn't be surprised if colleges started offering a bachelor's program for it. I remember so many years ago, I saw videos of people doing this cool rocket jump on Hightower, off the box, up the stairs, and onto the top of the tower, and I'd practice that on my own for hours on end. And when I finally got it down, it really felt like something to be proud of. Ever since that day, I've never been more proud to call myself an addict. As for the second step, actually using the shovel, it's a very particular kind of timing that you just feel out over time. At first, I had so much trouble landing hits on people while rocket jumping. You're likely to be moving really quickly through the air, so timing this weird delayed swings on top of hitbox funkiness, it takes some getting used to. But when you finally get it down after hours of nonsense and misses and swings and practice and all the bullshit, when everything finally goes right, it is almost impossible to fully explain how satisfying it is to land a solid garden without experiencing it yourself, but I'll try. For one, landing that 195 damage that insta-kills 7 out of 9 classes alone is insane. Backstabbing and headshotting is already really satisfying, there's something really clean feeling about one shot, one kill, but when that one-shotting ability involves you flying across the map at Mach 5, launching yourself at the enemy and slamming them with about 4 pounds of steel, it's got a seat at my wedding. I think a great way to get across the feeling of getting a good garden, here's a clip of me hitting this upward jump for the first time, a stream clip from a few years ago. Yes! Yes! It was like 1 AM at that time, I don't know how the hell I got away with that scream. Anyway, it's moments like these long ago that made me realize that, for me, my favorite thing about TF2 is moments like that, where you get some kind of crazy play and just revel in how fucking cool you look right now. Now, with all that considered, what's it actually like to use the market gardener? I love this thing, I swear I do, but it is a temperamental beast and you will learn the meaning of suffering before you get consistent with it. Generally speaking, there are 2 schools of market gardening, what I'll call supplementary gardening and full gardening, aka the Trolldier. The former is generally my go-to loadout as Soldier. It's almost impossible to go wrong with the stock launcher and gunboats with anything else. But the market gardener lets you simulate what it's like to throw away your safe, consistent 9-to-5 job and give meth a try. In a lot of ways, this loadout is the best of both worlds. These 2 weapons together alone are already incredibly powerful and define one of the most iconic loadouts in the game. But add the gardener in there and it gives you the opportunity to go for a market garden if the time is right. The escape plan and disciplinary action are always safe options instead, of course, but the devil is calling my goddamn name. While most might immediately jump to the Trollger loadout to try out market gardening, I do recommend giving this one a try instead first. It does a really good job of training you to spot when would be a really good time to go in for a garden, and it's surprising how much utility it really has. A better example than I could ever imagine is this legendary clip from our Lord and Savior Jay Hyun. Jay, he's cool.
Good job, guys. I sucked in and forced them.
This is a nice force. Good opening. Oh! Scout
Anyway, this is a good loadout. Meanwhile, this is a good way to end up on a list. The Trollger is what most people consider to be synonymous with the market gardening playstyle. The rocket jumper, man-treads, and market gardener. The main trade-off you make with this loadout over the first one is pretty obvious. Your rockets deal no damage. Sure, medic, and being a YouTuber is a real job. Not having a rocket launcher means that the only thing you're doing is looking for market gardens, and sometimes there are just no good options. As you probably already know, certain maps are much more favorable for the Trollger playstyle. If you want to try to market garden on Dust Bowl, feel free to get back to me on how it went after rehab. I like to place all maps in the game on a sliding bar in terms of how good it feels to play Trollger on them, ranging from buttery smooth to it's alright to passing a kidney stone. More open maps are your friend, and of course, High Tower is often the go-to pick for this playstyle, and it's easy to see why. A completely open-air map with a giant skybox, tons of places to get market gardens on unaware players, it's a really fun time. Some other standout maps for me are Sawmill and Double Cross for CTF, Process for 5CP, Lakeside and Cough. There's a lot of maps out there for the gardens-heavy player. Now durrbill, you might say, what about Upward? Well, Upward can be a pretty fantastic map for gardens, a lot of the clips in this video are from there, but gardening on Upward Last is about as easy as trying to convince people that the YER is better than the kunai. You'll see. You'll all fucking see one day. But Upward is also a great place to do some trauma dumping. Do you mind if I vent for a moment? I like Engineer. He's an incredibly unique class and truly plays a key role in making TF2 as incredible a game as it is. His various buildings enable a level of player creativity that no other class can truly rival. Oh hey, he's on this Wikipedia page too, isn't that funny? Sentries are the bane of any rocket jumper's existence. They are an almost unstoppable force for you to surpass, and unless if you're going Mach 5, there's no way you're killing anyone in radius of one. Even a mini sentry is enough to lock you down entirely. Speaking of, air blasting as Pyro is just the right move when a melee-only class is coming towards you from the air. You could risk going for some normal fire damage, but why do that? Air blasting just makes sense. But also, every time I encounter an air blasting Pyro while trying to garden, I can't help but think, wow, you're fun at parties. What else do you do? Eat food, you fucking normie? To reiterate, all these things just make sense and I'm complaining for comedy's sake, but the life of a Trollger is supposed to be hard, even if it means it's really frustrating to play any kind of full time. If you hop into a non-high tower game and start out with Trollger, there's a really good chance you're just going to have to swap classes at some point to get something done. It's especially tough because if your team is getting rolled, you definitely can't play Trollger. But if your team is just doing a little too well, you're going to be playing catch up the whole time, picking off the stragglers that your team didn't kill immediately, and that's just not that fun of a time. You need a very specific type of game to have some fun with the class. While using the rocket jumper, I forgot I was talking about the Trollger loadout. The man-treads are the second part of the Trollger's loadout. Some boots. That's a boots. I love B. It's got that kick to it. Boots. I actually kind of don't like the knockback reduction these give you sometimes, since without them, you're able to surf off of enemy explosions and get gardens like that, which is really cool, but it's fine. The stars of the show, of course, are the air control boost and Goomba stomping. The 200% increase in air control is a really weird stat. I'm pretty sure it just increases the tolerance for strafing, allowing you to move around more without losing momentum in midair, but this one is pretty hard for me to feel out. I'm sure it helps a lot more than I think though. Meanwhile, Goomba stomping, it's weird. In most circumstances, it never really does enough damage to kill reliably, often around 50 to 80 damage. If you happen to hit that in tandem with a shovel whack, it will kill a good amount of classes, but it's certainly not preferable to a standard crit garden. Almost every stomp I get ends up being on accident because I misaligned with the gardener, which I guess is fine, since the alternative is just doing no damage at all when landing on someone. But I will say, the feeling of landing on someone from orbit is what dreams are made of. So yeah, the Mantreds are a pretty alright addition to the Trollder loadout. Honestly, you could do without them pretty easily and take a shotgun or the base jumper instead. Shit, I should probably talk about this thing. Alright, the base jumper helps a lot when it comes to timing a market garden if you really can't get one otherwise. This is a route you can take, but it's just so different. Or it's so slow and you die so easily and it feels so wrong, I don't know. Normally I'd prefer to be more neutral in instances like this and be more forgiving towards other playstyles, but I'm gonna be real, this is some clown shit. If you want to watch something more positive, go watch Germa or something. He's a positive guy, right? I think he's pretty happy.
Shut the fuck up!
I mean, not for real. If you want to do this, I think it's fine, but I think it removes a ton of the fun from the gardener. Obviously, you can use whatever you like, but if you want to have some real fun, I recommend practicing just with the Mantreds and getting some fast gardens. Trust me, it is way more fun, even if it's a lot harder to get down. Anyway, I digress. The Mantreds get a solid 7 out of 10, would tread on these men again. The third and most important part of the Trollder loadout is the gardener itself. We've already talked about this thing a lot on its own, so let's discuss it in the context of its most iconic loadout. This thing really is your only way of dealing damage, and it only deals enough damage to be worthwhile if you get a crit while blast jumping. Which means that if you do not eliminate every single threat around you with a single shovel swing, which obviously is pretty often the case, you need to escape immediately. You can go for more kills if you want to be ballsy like me. You're playing Trollder, might as well fuck it, but anyway, it's dangerous. 195 damage also isn't enough to kill most classes while overhealed if I'm correct, so sometimes your dollar store gardener, it just isn't gonna cut it. I don't know, normally I have a wise word of advice be wary of your opponent's health before going in for a garden, but the spirit of gardening to me is about going sicko mode at every possible moment, so go for it, go get them all, you can do it.
Dude fucking killed me with the barrel of his gun.
Also, did you know it's weirdly possible to juke out sentries if you try hard enough to kill them? You've probably seen this trick before where you rotate around a sentry as it's aiming at you to avoid it, but taking full advantage of this is really useful for Trollders in particular. Because you can go super freaking fast, you can often outspeed a sentry and land on top of it. Whether that means you'll destroy the sentry or be the world's most explosive Christmas ornament is almost entirely random, but goddammit, in the trenches we take what we can get. Anywho, I think that summarizes the life of the Trollder pretty well. The Rocket Jumper Mantred's gardener loadout is really what people focus on when it comes to gardening, but like I said earlier, I really recommend trying it out with more standard soldier loadouts. A favorite idea of mine has always been to use it with a direct hit, launch someone into the air, and then garden them before they land, but I haven't been able to do it myself yet. But you could. Something to always keep in mind while playing is to experiment with funky and fun playstyles, and it's hard to get much more of that than with this stupid green shovel. I think market gardening is very definitive of TF2 in itself. It's an incredibly flexible and diverse skill in that it requires the honing of many other skills to nail down. It's exhilarating as all hell, sending you across the map at Mach 10 in hopes of getting an incredibly unnecessary yet sick as all hell kill. In terms of practicality and being optimal, it finds a way to be simultaneously practical and awesome in some situations, and yet completely moronic in others. And I think if there's anything that defines TF2, it's something along those lines. Sometimes really awesome, sometimes really stupid, oftentimes really stupid. Sometimes I tried to improv a joke here. Follow me on Twitter.